What is up, guys? I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're covering some more r/am I the butthole. If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below. But if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too. And if you want to be super awesome, you can also support the channel either through Patreon and through YouTube membership, as it may just one day help me transition to this becoming full-time. Possibly one day, maybe, who knows. Much love, guys. And our first story comes from Katie Eats. Oh god. Am I the arsehole for asking a customer, why are you even in here? And embarrassing them. I own a small business, specifically a card and gaming shop. We sell a plethora of gaming cards like Magic, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, various sports cards, everything in between. We also carry a wide variety of t-shirts related to card games, sports cards, anime, etc. and have a huge gaming area where we hold card game tournaments where customers can come play board games or whatever they'd like. So what happened? This guy comes in the other day, I greet him and he starts looking around. After a few minutes I tell him to let me know if there's anything I can help with. He then starts pointing at stuff and asking some high-key offensive/rude questions. Here are some examples of the specific things he asked/said. He said, "Holy shit, are those Pokemon cards? I thought those things went extinct a long time ago." I said, "Yeah, we have packs, boxes, starter decks. They're actually really popular the past few years." He said, "Wow, so parents buy these for their kids to shove in bike spokes?" And he laughs. I said something about how people of all ages play competitively. We even host tournaments. Him looking at the shirts. How much are the shirts? Actually, never mind. Some of them look cool, but I wouldn't want anyone to think I'm into this crap. And I said, well, they're $16.99. He then says, so these are the cartoons that all those emo kids watch, looking at the anime section. At this point I was getting extremely uncomfortable with him crapping all over my store and effectively the customers I serve on a daily basis. Then he walks past the empty table section where we host card game tournaments. We're not hosting any tournaments until certain COVID restrictions lift, and says loudly, so do their neckbeards have to rent a seat or something to play, or do you just let them mooch off the store's AC while they play? At this point, he had been in the store for well over 30 minutes and had said/asked several disrespectful, offensive questions and statements, and I had had enough. I had customers in the store and I was pissed that he was potentially making them feel uncomfortable or like they were somehow losers because they have these hobbies, because that's how I was feeling. I let out a big sigh and said, "Why are you even in a gaming shop if you hate everything about cards and gaming?" He was very clearly embarrassed, spent a few awkward silent minutes walking back around and left the store. I consciously didn't say goodbye or anything because I didn't want it to come out like, "have a nice day," in the fuck you type of tone. My employee told me it was rude of me to say that to him, and I probably made him feel like he wasn't welcome in our hobby community when it's supposed to be all inclusive, which I preached to my employees religiously. I think I might be the arsehole for how I handled it, but I feel like I was justified after the things he said. Am I the arsehole for saying what I said and embarrassing him? Edit 1. This was a buff, decently attractive 30-something-year-old, if that matters, not some sort of super out of touch with times older person. Older folks come in all the time, and if they don't get the hobby, I just tried my best to explain it, but they're never walking around and calling everything dumb. Edit 2, I'm a woman if that matters to anyone. Edit 3, I'm heavily and obviously pregnant, so I doubt it has anything to do with this guy trying to weirdly spark a convo with me, but I've been wrong before. Now I'm going to start off by saying not the arsehole, simply because, yeah, he was putting down everything in the store, so why was he there? That is a total valid question to ask him, you know. If you're going to slag off everything in the store, and even people in the store, by calling them neckbeards, then yeah, they deserve to be called out for that behaviour. But I sort of wonder if it was something to do with, like, he secretly really did want to be a part of, like, the community, like, he really did like the stuff that was in the store. And maybe it's new to him, so he's trying to get into it. But he was trying to also, like, act kind of cool in front of you by saying typical things. I thought the Pokemon cards went extinct a long time ago, and neckbeards mooching off the AC, that kind of shit, you know. And talking about anime and saying only emo kids watch that kind of stuff. I don't know, that might be a really strange take to say someone's putting it down because they really like it, but you know, it happens in other walks of life as well, so it might be happening here, but as I said, not the arsehole in this situation. They deserve to be called out for that because they were clearly making other people feel uncomfortable too. Let's go to the comments and see what they say. Alert Potato says, not the arsehole. All-inclusive does not mean including people who are bullying your customer base. It means allowing anyone who wants to participate without being an arsehole to other people to do so. OP replies to this saying, "This is what I preach to my employees. If someone comes in asking about magic, but you're a Pokemon fan, you don't have to pretend to prefer magic, but you do need to be stoked to help them find and enjoy something they love." That's where I was second guessing myself. All inclusive doesn't mean putting up with someone bullying my customers. The loveliest Karen says, "Part of being an inclusive community is about keeping out people who are going to harm and try to alienate people in that community. Otherwise, it will foster an environment that does exclude people who aren't okay with being harassed. For instance, if you ran a group and were like, 'We're inclusive to black people and to racist,' you'd actually be excluding black people because they're being made to feel unwelcome by the racist. Being inclusive is about allowing people from different backgrounds, not about allowing arseholes. You're still allowed to have a general code of conduct. I didn't even feel like you were rude to him. Not the arsehole." NK Deck says, "Not the arsehole. Paradox of tolerance. You can't have a tolerant community without being intolerant of the intolerant." Kida Lee says, 30 minutes? Ah, hell no. The patience you wield is amazing. What a loser that dude is. Not the arsehole." Now, I want to know your opinion on this story. Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 1. And our next story is from Lelia Rose 22. "Would I be the arsehole if I refused to go to my daughter's wedding because my wife isn't invited? I never wanted children. I was always careful, always wore a condom, but somehow I ended up getting my ex pregnant. I begged her to abort or to consider abortion, but she wanted to keep the pregnancy. We ended up moving in together and I met my wife around the same time. We were in the same friend group and I was instantly very attracted to her. I guess people call it an emotional affair. I told her about my problems and she was supportive and believed if a woman could abort, a man should have the right to walk away. My ex gave birth to twins and I stayed for the first 6 months, but honestly, I just didn't love them. I didn't want to be a father, the feelings weren't there, and I was becoming very depressed. I hated my life, and I think if I stayed, I would have ended up severely depressed or an alcoholic. My wife graduated around that time and was moving back to California. We were in New York, so across the country. She said I should come with her and start over. She said something that really stuck with me, how if I don't walk away now, I can't do it in 5 years, and right now is the moment to hurt my kids the least. I told my ex that it wasn't working and that I didn't want to be a dad. I moved to California and married my wife, but I paid all of my child support, paid for their education, extracurriculars, etc. When the twins were 18, they wanted to meet me, and I felt ready. My son and I built a good relationship, but my daughter hates my wife. She wanted to apologise for telling me it was alright to leave, which obviously, even if she did say that, I made the decision. My daughter is getting married and recently said my wife is not invited. I told her that is incredibly disrespectful and you can't invite half of a couple. She said she is selfish and evil and just said those things so I'd move with her. I fully paid for this wedding, which I probably wouldn't have if I knew this ahead of time. But I told her I would not publicly disrespect my wife. Now, if we was just to base it just on that question alone, the daughter refusing to let the wife come to the wedding, so the husband isn't going to come either, then I would say, not the arsehole, right? You know, it's your choice not to go to that wedding. It's your choice just as much as it's her choice not to invite her. You don't want to disrespect your wife, and I get that, so don't go to the wedding. Don't cause a big hassle about it though, you know? There's so many different layers to this story and it's so confusing too on where to go with it, you know? From the initial pregnancy to leaving the children and then coming back to build a relationship in their lives when they turn 18. Or they sought you out, didn't they? So, but you still built that relationship up. You know, it's absolutely insane. So I'm going to go straight to the comments to see what we got down there. And because I got a little feeling it might be a mixed response on this one. I'm not sure though. Wallaby in Training says, "Are you the arsehole for not going to the wedding if your wife isn't welcome? No. Is your daughter the arsehole for not inviting your wife? No. Sounds like she doesn't have any relationship with your wife, so I can understand she doesn't want her there. You had the chance to introduce your wife to your daughter for several decades, but you decided you didn't want to, so that one is on you. Are you the arsehole for suddenly deciding you want to teach your daughter, you know, the one you abandoned, what is and isn't disrespectful, and who she must invite to her wedding? Yes, you're the arsehole." Mama Fen says, "Yeah, you're the arsehole. Your daughter is absolutely within her rights to say, that's the woman who convinced you to walk her out of my life when I was a baby, so I don't want her at my wedding. Stay home with your wife, since she means more to you than your daughter, and let your daughter have the wedding she wants without drama. You didn't want to be a dad anyway, you said so yourself, so why would you try to be at her wedding now?" Shady X Evil says, "Not the arsehole for attending because after all we have choices, but you're the arsehole for thinking your wife is entitled to go to her wedding just because she is your wife. This is not how it works at all, and you can invite half a couple if you don't like one of them. It is her day and not yours, and to me, this part is incredibly selfish and childish of you. Wow, what a story, and what do you guys think of this story? I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 2. And our next story is from our initiative 2287. Am I the arsehole for wanting to sue my dad and sister? Before people judge, please hear me out. So I, 20 female, have a successful Instagram shop and Etsy shop and make a pretty good living doing it full time. I didn't tell anyone for a while because my sister is very money hungry and thinks I owe her since she took care of me while I was younger. My sister is around 26 and has 3 2-1 kids and pregnant again. Her boyfriend, the kid's father, barely works part-time and they both live in low-income housing. Anyway, I was able to pay off my student loans. I didn't have too much since we were military and I haven't gotten the GI Bill. My sister never went to college. And I gave some money to my dad because he did a pretty good job raising me. Now, when he finally asked me where I got all the money, I finally caved and told him I had my own side business and showed him all the revenue, my income, how much I save for taxes, 1099 is an arse, and how much I save for my apartment. Little did I know my sister was on the phone with my dad and heard everything. At first she was kind of polite about it and started asking me to pay for things, i.e. her rent since my dad pays for her rent, what her kids need, food, etc. I of course always said no. Now I check my finances twice every week and I make sure I have everything in line since I don't have an actual income, like getting paid every 2 weeks. I make sure I'm on top of that. My bank has you stay with your parent in a shared account until you are 21. I don't know about everyone else's bank, so my dad has access to all my passwords, account information, etc. When I was looking at the bank account, I noticed a lot of money was missing, $3,000 plus, and I instantly called my bank and found out my father actually withdrew that money. When I confronted him about it, apparently my sister needed stuff for her kids. And I'm not talking diapers, I'm talking stupid things like the newest generation iPad. Now $3,000 is a lot of money. I put in countless hours working on orders. When I confronted my sister, she gave me a sob story saying she needed it for rent and her kids and food. I told her that she needs to give me my money back, and then she got furious, saying that you need to help out family, and while I have no problems buying diapers, formula, etc. for her, that doesn't cost $3,000. I told her if she doesn't have the money within the next 2 to 4 months, again she works part-time, that I would sue her. Everyone is seemingly on her side, in which you don't do that to family, but rightfully it is my money and I worked my arse off to get it. So Reddit, am I the arsehole? Edit, my dad was in the military, not me. I should have made that more clear. That's why I got all of his post 9/11 GI benefits. Also, I transferred to different colleges and took college classes in high school. The loan has to be paid back when you get out of said college. I started my business when I was in high school, which is why I've saved up quite a lot. This is mostly people on the am I the angel? Edit 2, I live on my own. That's how my dad doesn't know about things shipping in and out. 2, in high school my dad was never home. Again, he's in the military, so he's gone every other week or longer. $3,000 is a ton of money, especially when you're trying to run your own business too. So for them to just dip in and take money like that is absolutely crazy. Not only is it is blatant stealing, which is totally wrong in the first place, but it's putting your business at risk. Surely you have business expenses too, you have tax that comes out of that money. So they're putting you in, they could potentially get you in big trouble. I'm not sure what the tax rates are like in the US, but for like a sole trader in the UK, for anything I earn, I have to do taxes and I have to put away 30% of all earnings as taxes. So let's use that as an example. So she's having to put away $900 of that, and if they've spent it, she could get in massive trouble from that. And them turning around and saying, oh no, if you have to help out family and stuff, I'd turn around and say, well, you don't fucking steal from family either. I mean, come on, man. But let's have a look at the comments below to see what they say. Super Warrior 70 says, not the arsehole, your dad and sister took the money you earned from selling your product without your consent. However, I'm not too sure about suing. You should probably post about this on r/legal advice. King Wizard Lizard says, not the arsehole, everyone in the situation is an adult. That means adult responsibilities, and I'm assuming you claim no dependents on your taxes, so legally you don't owe them anything. $3,000 is a lot of money just to go missing, and suing them or filing a police report is completely understandable. You are beginning your adult life, and that means taking care of yourself for your future. You should be proud of your shop and work you've put in. And yeah, that as well. They sound so responsible with the way they've set things up, and they're putting things away for their apartment, for their business. You know, it's great skills to have at that age, so fair play to them for that. Apart Locksmith 1 says, not the arsehole, but open a soul account ASAP. Your sister was well out of line by asking, but your father committed the bigger betrayal by stealing your money and gifting it to your sister. I consider letting his superior officers know about the theft. That might be too scorched earth, depending upon family circumstances, but you definitely need to get away from them and ensure they have no further access to your accounts or financial information. Now, what do you guys think of this story? Absolutely crazy. Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 3. And our next story is from OwnBuilder4309. Am I the arsehole for letting my wife spend the night in jail? This happened a few weeks ago, but my wife is still very upset. We attended a family wedding, and my shit-stirring brother told us that my parents changed the will and were only leaving us $10. Lawyer said if they left nothing, it would be easier to challenge. My wife was extremely upset. Obviously, we aren't entitled to their money, but it's hurtful when they show such blatant favoritism. I confronted my dad, and his response was pretty much, your mum made me do it and she's crazy. My dad pretty much doesn't give a shit about anything. He's much older than my mum and ready for the drama to end, and my mum is kind of crazy. My mum yelled at us and said we knew she hated my wife, and we should understand that actions have consequences. Again, I know they don't owe me the money, but it hurts how they treat me versus how they treat my brother. And I'm not even going to get started on my kids versus my niece, the golden child. My mum said she would change the will back to 50-50 if I divorced my wife. My wife began screaming at my mum that she is an evil bitch. Not wrong, but my wife would not let it go. My parents tried to get away from her and she chased their car. I kept yelling at her to stop because our kids were there and she was scaring them. She ended up jumping into the back of the convertible and my mum got her arrested. I took the kids home, and by the time she called, they were comfortable in bed, and I was pretty pissed off that she acted like that. I told her that I wasn't going to wake the kids, and we ended up getting her in the morning. She is still extremely upset. Oh my word, what a circus this is. Apparently this was all happening outside in the parking lot of this wedding going on. And OP says in the comments below that the mum doesn't even really like anyone, not even the brother. So, you know, it does sound really strange, but why does she like him? It almost inklings of dementia, but I don't know the age of this person, or, you know, because you hear about people with dementia getting aggressive and things like that, and changes in behaviour. But be interesting to know what her past is like. Has she always disliked anyone, or has this come on all of a sudden? But I don't know. I was just throwing that one out there because of it. But this is clearly an everyone sucks here in this story. Perhaps not the father, but he really didn't do anything in it. He just sort of stood there like, what the fuck's going on? And the kids as well. The kids obviously ain't the arseholes in this, because, you know, they don't need to see that, do they? And maybe leaving the wife in the jail cell for the night to cool off was maybe a good thing in the end, but I don't know. What an absolute mess. Let's have a look at the comments below to see what we can find. Tamika Olivia says, everyone sucks here. Like literally every adult in this fucked up story is awful and needs copious amounts of therapy. Edit, you aren't awful for leaving your wife in jail, by the way. You get lumped in that everyone sucks here because you aren't taking this more seriously. Her response was dangerous and you need to take steps to protect your kids. This has gone beyond drama. Blue Conlon says, everyone sucks here. I strongly suspect stuff was left out of the description. I feel bad for your kids. Maybe don't go to family events if your wife can't control herself. Maybe do more to show your wife you have her back. Bubbles the Horse says, your dad isn't the only one married to a crazy woman. Not the arsehole. Lily2404 says, my, aren't you all a lovely family? Everyone sucks here, every single one of you, except the kids. I would say you're a troll, but sadly what you told in the post could be real as well. Misbehave says, everyone sucks here. I feel awful for the bride and groom of this wedding. How are they doing? The thing is, 82 says, everyone sucks here. Why did your brother bring it up? Why did you confront your dad? Why is your wife going nuts over this in front of your children? But at the same time, were you supposed to call your parents to come watch your children in the middle of the night while you picked up your wife from jail? And 3 Fluffy says, not the arsehole, one of the consequences of arrest-worthy behaviour is that you might have to spend the night in jail, and frankly, she needed to learn that consequences exist for behaviour like that. Your gods tell her she needs to get anger management therapy, pronto. Chasing people in their car and jumping in the back of it, that's soap opera worthy, and I shudder to imagine the impact behaviour like that has on the kids and you. Wow. Ended on a crazy one right there. Now, what do you guys think of this story? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description. For story 4, Once again, guys, thank you for being here today. If you did enjoy today's stories, you know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too. And even joining over on Patreon or YouTube membership, as it really does help out our channel and helps us protect us further down the line, you know, in case of possible demonetization, which I've seen 2 channels this week happen to. So I don't know. It's a bit of a waiting game at the moment. It's a bit nerve-wracking, but we'll see how it goes. We just gotta play it, because who knows with YouTube, right? Thank you for all the support and everything you do for me, and I will see you in the next one, hopefully. Take care, guys. Much love.